Hello and welcome to another episode of No Answers Yet. I am one of your hosts, Trey.
I'm the other host. It's your boy, Kiko.
Kiko.
Fresh.
Oh, why are you doing that so slow? Good lord. So we also have Terry in the back and his Terry cloth. And as always on the knobs is English.
Drinking some water. H2O.
Wow, pretty sure that'll... Don't... that's inappropriate. So, today we're going to talk about something that's pretty interesting. It was actually brought to my attention many years ago, a little over a decade ago, by the movie Signs, which we've actually talked about on the show before. I think the second or third episode. And one of the points of that movie was like, do you believe that things are fate or that they're just random? Things just happen. And a recent event in my life has, kind of brought this back to the forefront of my mind. So I thought it would be a good idea to talk about it. So we don't really have a lot of structure for this one. We just kind of wanted to discuss it. So what do you guys...
Let's do
What
it.
are your opinions? We'll just start with English.
Yeah, English.
Turn up that mic.
Well, I have to go first.
Because
we said
you
so.
didn't expect to. And
Yeah.
that really
Might
is
be put on the spot
organic.
here.
We're the hosts, so we decide.
Well, I'm the tech guy and the kind of the producer kind
That's
of
true. You could just
person,
edit
right?
this to where he's
So,
last.
Yeah.
That's true. But he's not going to. It's
You
too
guys
much
will never
effort.
know. Anyways, getting on topic, I guess since I'm leading the conversation now.
Yeah.
This is now my show.
Setting the tone.
Fully, I'm the only host. I am going to talk now.
Can't wait.
I guess I'm just gonna have to go for random.
Okay.
Because I don't really believe in anything
Mm-hmm.
in higher power. So, like kind of discussed before, like I'm more of a see when I believe it kind of guy.
Mm.
I don't really just believe in stuff that I don't physically see.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I really do believe in fate. It's used a lot, but I don't know if I really say I believe in it. So
Right. And just so listeners or viewers are aware, we did look up the definition of fate, and it's kind of all-encompassing for essentially just something out of your control, whether it's supernatural, religious, or whatever. So this is a catch-all word for if you truly do believe that there's some cosmic element out there, whether it's, a god or just genuinely there's some higher supernatural plan
Higher power.
in place, right? Or some higher power. So like, it doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to be, supernatural. It's just something out of your control. Or do you believe it really is just kind of how things happen? Kiko, you want to go next?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I truly believe in fate. Like, I truly believe in kind of what Tyler was saying. Like, he doesn't really believe it. He's like, like he said, he's one of those persons, I'll see when I believe it. And, like, I kind of am the opposite. Like, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You have to truly believe. And it's like something, it's faith, like you believe in a higher power. You believe that we're here for a reason. You believe things happen because there's a greater power out there than us. Like, we're here for a reason. And, I think that just plays into like me being Muslim, like my religion, just like teaching me like to always, you believe in God, you put God in I definitely believe that everything happens for a reason. Like, we're here for a reason. Like, these random cool things that happen in everyone's life, it's planned because it's a purpose, it's a reason, it's meant to happen. We don't know it, we can't control it. Excuse me, but I mean it's definitely here for a reason. It's all because of for God, like obviously that's my belief, and that's something I truly believe in. Like it's a higher power we have no control over, so that's pretty much what I believe in. Like, it's all from God, man. All praise to the Most High. That's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely. So personally, we've briefly kind of talked about like my religious upbringing, kind of where I am with that. I'm very much, kind of on the fence. To clear things up, of course, is that like I am not at all suggesting one way or the other, and I don't want, as well, any of our opinions to ever influence anybody. We're not here to. This is not propaganda, like we're giving our perspectives, which are all vastly different. Which is part of the reason we did the show, is that we feel like we can, come together and discuss things without getting hostile or judging each other or anything like that. And I think that's a good, healthy thing. And if, that expands and you guys are a part of it, that's pretty cool. So, again, I grew up as a Methodist. I, over time, saw myself as less of one. And at this point, I would consider myself agnostic. I do, though, as an agnostic person, see both sides, which is essentially the point. Is that I one of my favorite songs that I heard for the first time in high school is by Sam Sparro. And actually, I was trying to avoid doing songs of the week that are themed, that kind of go with the message because it felt gimmicky. But I feel like where appropriate, it's fine. So actually, we're going to change the song of the week to this one, which is Black and Gold by Sam Sparro. And in the song, there's a line that's always kind of stayed with me. It's if vision is the only validation, then most of my life isn't real, which I think is really cool. He's basically saying that, like, if all you need to verify that something's actually, genuine is a visual proof of it, then there's so many things that you can write off, like love and companionship and stuff like that. What I mean? So, which I love, but at the same time, there are things that I struggle to see how they could be planned. Because it's scary if that's true. They're like, mass murders, genocide, things like that. And, the the general excuse for that is, God wanted to bring them to heaven early or whatever. And that always kind of, I don't know, it feels like a cop-out, which sounds a little harsh, but you know what I mean? Like, if a bunch of people were just murdered, to say that God wanted all of those people
Right.
to, you know what I mean? It just, I struggle with that answer. And so I see both sides. I get this point of like, that things can be just random, that it's just an awful thing. But I also see where sometimes it could be like there's a plan set out, because sometimes the way things go, man, it blows my mind. So this thing that's happening with me right now is I had a woman come into my store earlier in the week, and we talked. She was literally coming in to make a payment on something unrelated. So it's not even something that we usually do with our store, because we're a lease store within another store. So we do that to help out, typically. So we didn't even have to do that. So she came in, made a payment, and then she started looking around at sunglasses, and we talked for a bit, and we ended up talking for a long time. And she began speaking about Alabama. It was brought up that I used to live down there for 25 years. And we talked about, like, and then she said, "Oh, do you know where Dothan is?" Which is where some close friends of hers are. And I was like, I was born in Dothan. Like, there were so many little things like that. And looking back at it, the opportunity to talk to her for so long, I actually had two of my associates there at the same time. One of them was training and one wasn't. And any other time working at that store, I don't think there's been any other time where she could have come in to talk to me, because for whatever reason, if I was alone, I would have had to walk away if a customer walked up, which I think 3 did at one point.
Yeah.
But I had my two associates. They were able to help out. They were able to kind of talk to them while I was still able to talk to her. Little things like that. Like that, again, I'm thinking back, even when I've had double coverage, like that was triple coverage. And even when I've had double coverage, I might have had to step away from it, and that may have ended that conversation.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And again, I wasn't even supposed to be there that night. I was training someone. So there were so many elements that kind of aligned, and stars or whatever cosmic fate. It felt like fate. It did. And that's why I'm saying, like, I see both sides. But she ended up giving me her information, her contact information, and it turns out she's kind of like a consulting person. She's like a headhunter almost. And I'm now working with her to kind of fulfill what my purpose is in life, which is freaking awesome. And she's she's the real deal. She's, at first I was like, this is too good to be true, but like, she's genuine. Like, I looked her up. She's, the real deal. And it's crazy, again, because looking back, there were so many things that would have easily had to happen for me to just not be there, or for her to just not talk to me for whatever reason. So I see both sides of it. It's an interesting conversation, because at this point I don't think I can say either way. Because I struggle with the idea that things are planned out, because some things, it would just hurt my heart if they were planned, because people suffer so much and for no reason. And then other things, how can that be random? Just how? And I feel like if that's the case, then how have we not died out from some crazy and awful event like the sun swallowing us up already or whatever? So I don't know. It's I don't know. I see both. But that's it for my answer. If you guys want to step in.
It's tough. I can see why, like, a lot of people wouldn't believe in, a lot of people don't believe in God, which is, that's fine, but like, man, like this is a tough one. Like why people would have such doubt and like things happen. Like, God, they say, oh, if God exists, and why do all these bad things happen? Why do all these killings happen? Like, if God really loves us, why does this stuff happen? But like, it's not God making that happen. It's the people. Like, think about it, like we're all born babies. We're all born innocent. We're not taught to hate. We're not taught to kill. We're not taught to judge. We're just a baby. But it's how we're brought up, and if we get influenced, with the bad people and learning all these bad habits, it catches up to you. And if you're not a strong enough person to know that, hey, that's bad, that's not for me, then if you fall into that, like that life, you'll go down that path doing bad things, and you'll stop believing why we're here. There is a purpose because God wants us to be here. We're here to serve Him. We're here to learn every day. We're here to become better people. We're here to help people. Like we're here for a reason. This life that we live right now, like in Islam, it teaches us, being Muslim, like this, it's dunya. It's like dunya in Arabic. It's like this world. Like this world is temporary. Like we're not here permanent. There's a better life out there, and it's for me as a Muslim. Like it's my job to not to be a perfect person, not to be a perfect Muslim, because there's no such thing. But my job is to be the best person I can be, and that's to serve God, to do what He wants me to do, to be kind to people, to show love, to show forgiveness, to help people, and for me to better myself every day. Not to become the best person. I always put my faith in Him, knowing that there's a plan why I'm here, and I truly believe in that. That's what gets me up every day, is to try to better myself every day, to be a better son, to be a better brother, to be a better husband, to be a better father, to do whatever I can to help someone, to make a positive difference in people's lives. And that's how I kind of like live my life, not knowing like God is putting me here, and I'm going to do whatever I can to represent Him, and to represent myself and my family and all my friends in the best way I know I can as a person. And, that's what kind of what my faith is. It's just knowing that, all those bad things, they're going to happen. They're out of my control. I wish they don't happen. I wish they wouldn't happen, but unfortunately they do. I don't know why. Only God knows why. I wish we knew why these bad things happen, why people do these bad things, but it's just, it's stupidity, I guess. It's just shameful, like people who fall down this bad path and they turn to the dark side, I guess, like they do bad things, instead of helping people, they want to hurt people, and that's totally what I'm against.
I think our next episode should be on the concept of nature versus nurture. I think that's a really good discussion, because I want to talk more about that, but it's getting off topic of the fate or randomness.
Yeah.
I will say though, on one of your points, that it's people that are doing the terrible things like that. I agree. Like, I'm not saying that, when these bad things happen, that, I'm not blaming, if there is a higher power, I'm not blaming that higher power.
Right,
I'm not saying like he let this happen. He caused this
no.
at all. I'm saying that like, if there is a higher power, that it doesn't necessarily mean that there is a plan as well.
Right.
If that makes sense. Because
No.
I feel that if people, being people, are so able to derail a plan made by a higher power, then how much power does that higher power have? You know what I mean? So it brings me to doubt if there is a plan at all. Because if, you know what I mean, if he has a plan for you to do this and this and this and this and this, and then some guy being evil comes and shoots you in the head, your plan's gone.
Right.
Because you're dead. You see what I mean? Like, if that is able to be derailed so quickly out of your control, that's why I doubt that there's a plan. That brings me to doubt that there's a plan.
But then you can also say, like, so those people who do bad things, who kill, who take away people's lives, who, steal, like, they had a reason to be here. Like, everyone is truly here for a reason. And it's up to every person to find that reason why they're here. And I feel like those people who, kind of derail off the track, I guess, and do bad things, is because they didn't know what their purpose was.
Right, but the person who was killed in that instant, that plan's gone. That's what I mean, is that, like, he didn't derail.
No.
Somebody derailed him.
And that's
somebody put a metaphorical penny on the track.
And that's a person who didn't have no guidance.
Who
did that bad thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if that is so easily, because it was the the human. We're agreeing
Right.
on that the person who has the gun is the reason that you cannot fulfill whatever that plan is.
Yeah.
Then he technically has more power in the situation than whoever made that plan. Because he can end it. He can just decide that, oh, you don't get a plan. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
You're finished. Now you go to wherever afterlife is. And that's why, like, growing up, I've always been like, I don't know. Like, even when I was a Christian, like, I wasn't really sure. I even made this theory, and I drew it out on the chalkboard in our youth group once, is like I felt like, and maybe this is even the answer, because I was like I said in that other episode, is
Yeah.
I was constantly asking questions, and I was trying to answer it myself with whatever information I had, whether I had information or not. And my theory, my prevailing theory that I had with it was that, like, essentially you were born, and then there's this tree that kind of branches out. If you think of like video games with the decision making, where you can make this decision and it branches off, and now you have a whole bunch of other options.
Yeah.
I felt like there was that kind of plan, where it was a tree plan, where ultimately there was some kind of set path laid out for you, but it was any one of a million. And your decision. So you basically answer the question of, there is a plan, but there's also free will, because
Right.
you get to choose where you go.
You have to find your way in life.
Right.
You have
And
to
so,
find what you
like,
want.
so no matter what happens, if you end on path A or path 62C, like, you're still, like, there was that plan in place for you. It was just so broad that we can't even comprehend it.
Yeah.
And one of those paths is get shot and die too soon. You know, so, like, it does kind of answer the question of, do we have free will and there's a plan? How is that possible? Those don't seem to be compatible. So that was my theory growing up, is
Yeah.
that I was like, that must be how it is, how it works, is that there is a plan. It's just very, very, it's not as linear as it makes it sound when we say that there's a plan. So I don't know, again, like there are times, I'll repeat that it feels like, how could this be random? But then there are other times where I'm like, I can't allow this to be in my head. I can't come to terms with the fact that this would be allowed to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Not allowed, but like this would be planned to happen.
Yeah.
Because a plan to me sounds like a good thing. It sounds like premeditation. It sounds like, okay, this is what we're going to do, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And if that ends in the slaughter of millions or however many, that sounds awful. And so I guess that's why that's been my biggest thing with that, as well as, you know, the correlation between free will and God ultimately having a plan. But yeah.
I think, like, as like human beings, like, we have plans. Like, you know, you're a kid, you grow up to, you know, you want to do this and do that and get married, and, like, you know, unfortunately, like, and, you know, you go through life and you realize, like, oh, I planned this, but this is not what I planned. Like, things don't happen. You know, like, some things are out of our control, and you just gotta. That's when your faith comes in, and for me, you know, I put my trust in God, and, like, if I die, I die. It's gonna happen. Like, I think about death every day, because you never take life for granted. Like, I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, real quick, and it really, like, I thought about this, but it really just woke me up. Like, you know, one day I'm fine, the next day anything can happen, and I wound up in the hospital with pneumonia in both my lungs, and it was really scary because I thought I was a goner, and it just, like, it kind of, like, humbles you as a person, and know, like, we're only here for a temporary time, and you try to do the best you can and be the best person, and sometimes in life things are out of your control, and it's just, there's a higher power. For me, that's just what I believe, and that's how I just know there's a better life out there. It's just not in this life. There's a better life out there, and for this life, it's a test, and it's up for us, you know, up for people to do the best we can to live that better life. You know, to find true, like, happiness, because you'll never be, like, true. You'll never be satisfied in this world. I don't think as a person can ever be satisfied. You can be happy, but I don't think you can be satisfied. I feel like a lot of people try to buy to, you know, to be, you know, I want this and I want that, and this will satisfy me. I'll be the most satisfied person in the world. But in reality, it's material things, and we're all going to die one day, and we can't take those things when we die. And it's kind of like, just appreciate every day you have, and, you know, you got to believe in something. And you know, for me, it's God, and I try to put Him first in my life, and know that there's a higher power, and He has a plan for us, and it's a better plan. So yeah, it's a deep conversation, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good. I like it.
Do you have anything?
Any closing thoughts, Mr. English? There you go, switching up that knob again.
I don't know. I'm not a very deep person,
I disagree.
you know.
I disagree.
Like I understand both sides,
Mm.
but I don't know. To me, I went to the whole CCD and everything, and then as soon as my parents gave me that choice, I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I just couldn't think that way for myself. It just didn't. I don't know. I've tried to believe, but I just can't. So to me, it just seems like randomness to things is kind of what makes the most sense.
Mm.
And I get what you're saying as far as like it's the people doing the sins and stuff, and it's not God and or whatever higher power you believe in kind of thing. But even that, it's like that requires a lot of faith, and kind of like going what you were saying, Trey, in that previous episode, because we have to believe solely on faith.
Mm.
We have no proof of any kind of evidence, and with me being that believe it to see it kind of guy, it's just not in my cards kind of thing to be able to really believe it.
Mm.
If I could give you proof, would that change your mind?
If you could give me
Could you,
proof,
though?
I believe I could.
What would that be?
Could. That's not me. That's from God, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, is that I don't think there's proof in it either way. I've always believed that as well. Is that like, if there was substantial proof for Christianity or Islam or atheism, if there was substantial proof for any of these things, then it would be the world religion. Everybody would believe it because there would be proof. But the thing that makes it so captivating of a discussion is that there isn't proof for either case. There's no proof that God doesn't exist. There's no proof that he does exist. And so that's why atheists and everybody in organized religion have been arguing for ever, is because neither person can prove it. And that's what I mean, is that like, when you say you can prove it because it's from God, like ultimately that would be on, Tyler to decide if that was a sign,
Man, that's up to him.
or if it was random. And like,
I mean,
if that's something that like, if he did decide that was God, and if it was, which would be awesome, like,
right.
that if that led to a better life for him, then fantastic. But
For me, like my proof is, the book, the Holy Quran. That's like what Muslims read, and that's where our proof is. And it's been, for me, that's my proof, and that's good enough. Like I read it, and you can understand it, why we're here. And it's a very, you have to get yourself in a very like peaceful state of mind and really read it and understand it. And you'll probably have to go back and read it again and understand it again. And it's very deep. But I mean, if you ever want to read it, let me know.
Absolutely.
Like it's, I'm not pushing you to do anything. As a Muslim, we're taught not to never put our religion on someone, because that's the opposite. That's what Islam teaches us, is never to put our religion on people. We never tell people like you're a bad person because you're not Muslim, so you're going to hell. No, like our job is to, if you want to learn about Islam, I'll teach you, but my job is not to push you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always agreed that like, I think it's a good thing to learning is good. I mean, really, if at the end of the day I read it and I decided that's not for me, but I'm still going to be glad that I encountered it.
Because you never lost anything. You only gain knowledge.
Exactly.
You gain something. You learn something.
You gain
from
perspective from somebody else, and now I have an entire perspective of an entire group.
And I know you respect Islam, with me being Muslim and like me being fasting, and I really appreciate all the love and support you've always given me. Like I've always said, and I will continue to say, like, that means a lot to me. That shows that you care about. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, like you just care about people, and that's awesome, man. That's great.
The same goes for Christians. Like I respect everybody. Like
I know you do.
Atheists
and
as well. Like, so
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that's all from God, man. That's all from God, man. That beauty of yours, that love, that's from God, man.
Thanks, buddy. My mom's thrilled that you're saying that right now.
I'm glad.
So, I mean, because that's ultimately like my thing was that like people who are willing to put forth that learning, I think that's a good quality. I also, conversely, I think that it's cowardly to, not cowardly, it seems a little strong, but when somebody is afraid of alternative material and they think, so without saying names, I had an experience once where I was talking about Harry Potter, and an older Christian gentleman in my church basically attacked me, and like not physically, but he was essentially saying like when I was trapped in a car with him for a brief while when this was happening, and he was essentially saying like, you know, Christians who read Harry Potter are not really Christians and stuff like that.
See, like you can't say that kind of
and
stuff.
I was like, do you know what it's about? And he was like, it's about like demons and stuff like that. I was like, no, it's about good versus evil. It's literally based on Christianity. Like J.K. Rowling has actually said as much, that it's based on the fact that like of all the evil magics in the world, Avada Kedavra, the killing curses, all like that, like the fact that his mom sacrificed himself, does that sound familiar at all? Like that beat out this curse that he couldn't kill this baby because she had died for him. Like that's literally the point, is that love is more powerful than magic. That's the whole point. So like she said as much. It's based on Christianity, and like I was like, have you ever seen the movies or read the books? And he said, I won't spend a penny on it. And I was like, to me, that shows personally, and this whether this is true or not, I feel that when somebody expresses that kind of fear from something, they're essentially claiming they don't have a lot of trust in their own beliefs. Like, how strong are your beliefs really if you believe that a children's movie or a children's book is going to make you, when you read it, go, oh no, I love the devil. Like, how much,
Right. No,
like how strong is your faith if you
totally
believe that?
agree with you, yeah.
And
Bad
so
about that too is that actually like there's some kids at work I talk about Harry Potter. They've never seen it because their parents won't let them watch it.
Yeah.
Because of that.
that's
But it's sad. Like it is.
Because it's witchcraft. And
Okay, well, it doesn't mean just because you watch it, you're gonna become a witch and you're gonna worship the devil. You believe in the devil.
Yeah,
Like
which
it's
is
just like all these bad things.
Also,
That's
for the
crazy.
most part, like I actually have a friend from Alabama who is a witch.
Interesting.
She's a Wiccan, I think. No,
Wiccan, yeah.
pagan. I think she's a pagan. She's not a Wiccan.
But
like,
pagans is like witchcraft
Is it?
too?
I don't really know.
I know Wiccan is like witchcraft.
She is. She calls herself a witch, but I don't think she's
I see.
Wiccan.
Oh.
But there's a ton of different ones in that. But like they don't even really like, none of them worship the devil. They usually worship like
Idols.
typically female gods, like in
Interesting.
like Greek mythology and stuff like that. So like actual devil worship is very few and far between in anything I've ever seen. Like even Satanism as a religion at this moment, I can't remember what the real word for it is, but actual Satanism has nothing to do with Satan. They just believe that it's like every man for himself kind of thing. Like so even real Satanists don't believe in don't worship Satan. So like real Satan worship, I think, is very hard to find. I've not really found many of them. It's usually edgy kids.
Yeah.
There was that whole the Satanic Panic from back in like the early 90s, late 80s, I think. I mean, it's I like that kind of like just. I've always told people like the type of evil that has people in a dungeon rubbing their hands together and going, oh, I can't wait to kill everyone, is very uncommon. Like, it really is. For the most part, evil people think they're doing good. So for someone to like just blatantly worship this evil creature who is being described as evil from every corner of the world imaginable is not going to happen very often. For the most part, it's pagans. It's misunderstandings of what the other person believes. It's ultimately, as soon as they say they don't believe in God, they cut them off and say, devil, you know, and that's dangerous to me. And I think it shows a loose thread in the sweater that is their belief.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have run very long on this one,
Yeah.
but hopefully you got something out of it. This is one of our deeper ones, serious.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So as I said, song of the week is not going to be what I originally planned. It's actually going to be "Black and Gold" by Sam Sparro. Check it out. It has that line in the song, like I said, that I like. And yeah, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. I'm Trey.
It's your boy Kiko Fresh.
And English on the Knobs. See you later.
We out.